Hello and welcome to Rauta. I'm Jerry, and this time we take a look at Hellsinki Metal Festival 2024, the second edition of the festival that started last year. Without further introduction, let's go through the whole 3 days event and how it looks this year. Now, before we go into that section, I must say I was supposed to go there last year, but due to some schedule, interference, for the lack of a better word, let's say like just too much double booking happening. I was unable to do that, and unfortunately that kind of sucks because there were a bunch of interesting bands and possibilities to do interesting interviews. However, this year looks even better if you ask me. 3 days of quite various take on metal music coming from the capital city of Finland, Helsinki, around the early days of August. Now this happens just 1 week after Beyond the Gates festival, where I'm going early August. Very, very fitting for me personally because my birthday just happens to be 9th of August. So it's a good way to celebrate one getting older and then checking out some interesting bands. Now, as you all know, there's plenty of bands. When I say 3 days, I actually mean 2. I don't know why. Probably getting confused because actually there are 3 different parts of like Helsinki 1, 2, and 3, and mine does the tricks. Let's talk about 2 days instead of 3, that is. On the basic side here, you get to see Hellsinki Metal Festival.fi. You get to see the main page. You get to see the tickets and all that stuff. Obviously, this is in Finnish, but for the sake of the whole video and all, let's change to English. So here you get to see basic tickets, RIP tickets. These are explained more in details what it means. These are basically VIP, but RIP, more metal and all. Then there are 1 day tickets Friday, and Friday RIP, RIP, Saturday, and Saturday RIP. And there you have the warm-up shows. Now, if you go further into this site, you will find information like where this is located, what is included in the RIP Necropolis area, what is the festival area like, what are the details, basically tickets included, etc, etc. Let's get back to that basic main page, however, because we don't really need to go through all that stuff. You get to read it if you're coming, then still you have plenty of time to figure out because it's still a few months away. So figuring out your savings in terms of booking the flight tickets, accommodation, whatnot. Now, because Helsinki area is very, very busy, of course, during the summertime, you probably want to take into account the possibility of all nearby cities, considering Airbnbs and all that stuff on top of the hotels. I mean, if you don't have lack of money, if your budget is solid and all that stuff, of course, go for a hotel which is from the walking distance or maybe a tram distance or a couple of subway stops away from the area, because that's what helps you to get around and all that stuff. But like I said, this is about your personal budget and all that stuff. Can't go really too much into details. I've explained how much a given weekend can cost to a person going through festival, including all that stuff. They are all here on the videos on the channel, but now we're gonna focus on what's happening here at the event. Now, like previous year, Hellsinki Metal Festival is a combination of different styles. That means there are extreme metal such as black metal and death metal, but also power metal, also metalcore, and various other subgenres of things. Let's go through, for example, Friday first. So headlining acts here on this Helsinki 1 stage is Avantasia, which is then again more into the world of power metal, heavy metal, what have you. Then we have like Heaven Shall Burn and a couple of other bands which are more going to metalcore or other such core genres. Not exactly the type what I guess most on Rauta are all about, which I would put on the Helsinki 2 stage, where you have Satyricon as headliner and D-Side as the second headliner. So classic death and black metal being part of the deal, but also interesting names such as Hellhammer, basically it's Triumph of Death performing Hellhammer, so Dom G. Warrior and his comrades doing very, very old school early 80s set before Celtic Frost and all that stuff. I got to see them at Inferno 2 years ago and it was good. Also Terrorizer, a very cult act that has been resurfacing lately. Never seen them alive, but it's a very important name in the early grindcore scene and all that stuff. And then you have Dead Chain, also resurfacing, getting back into business with their kind of a dead trash thing. Interesting and solid band also. Now on Helsinki 3 we have the headliner here that is Swallow the Sun, a Finnish classic Death Doom, then So On, which is more on the progressive side of things, and then some more obscure names, Obscura or Massacre, old school stuff, especially Massacre death metal, definitely worth seeing. Cadaver, also old school Norwegian death metal, and Good Luck's playing their own weird grindcore stuff, and Suotana, more like Finnish folk metal. So quite a variety if you really think about it, from grind to old school death metal to folk metal to death doom to power metal, metalcore, black metal, quite a catering. And if you're versatile, I mean, if you do have diverse taste in metal, this is already a very, very good day. Also, if you're not that much into seeing everything, that's also the good thing to have, like spots, places, timings to eat or have beers and take the toilet breaks, hang out with your friends and all that stuff, so you don't have to rush into different bands just like back to back. On second day, this is headlined by Creator, a classic Teutonic thrash metal name, supported by Meshuggah, their own, well, tech death, I guess, is supposedly, roughly, or mathcore, whatever, as the second headliner. Then Doro's playing classic heavy metal, Black Parade, kind of a Native American folk black. Like, I'm considering it more like folk black in the sense it's not really like satanic act and all. Humanite's Last Breath, something that I never see, but if I remember correctly, more into the core side of things. Now, on the second stage, we have Hammerfall, classic heavy power metal act. Then Abbath playing Immortal. This will be, in my opinion, one of the highlight things, because I've seen Abbath a couple of times live, and it's solid, but it's been focused on Abbath side of things rather than going Immortal. So this will be very, very interesting to me personally. Then we have Insomnia, one of the biggest mellow death bands from Finland. And a couple of smaller acts like Hideous Divinity and Crownshift having the as support acts. Crownshift actually released lately, or is supposed to release something this spring, so it's gonna be interesting in those fans who are into their newer stuff. And here, finally, we have Mayhem doing Spectacular Thing, supported by Trelldom, a cult black metal band by Gal himself, who used to do Gorgoroth, of course, and Gal's Word. This I get to see, I hope, a week before this one at Beyond the Gates. So for me, it's supposed to be double feature. Interesting because I think it's Gal's best band. Then you have Duranti playing their own kind of a heavy speed metal thing, Baratrum doing old school Finnish black metal, and then Havukruun with their rather folkier, Bathory-like worship black metal, and Hellscott, which is totally unknown name to me. Now, as you probably already figured out, I don't know all the names personally. Like, I have no idea how the Amity Affliction is, for example, all about what's their music like, or Emir. There are always blind spots for me as well, and that's part of the charm when going to festivals. You always get to see some bands for the first time, or even hear some bands for the first time, including for me, Goodalux. I know them by name and fame, but never got to witness them, never actually listened to them, but yeah. So this is kind of an interesting day because it's like 1/3 of black metal, 1/3 of death metal, 1/3 of something else. And then you figure out you're running out of numbers. No, let's talk about quarters or maybe even fifths. So it's an interesting thing because you could really say it's 20% some kind of a folkier things, 20% power metal, 20% death metal, 20% metalcore, and 20% black metal, or roughly in that segment. It's a quite interesting take on a metal festival, in my opinion, putting it kind of a safe zone in terms of not like going really mainstream. What, for example, Tuska Festival has been doing past couple of years, very uninteresting to me, even though it used to be one of the go-to festivals each year back in the days. And then again, this is also a lot bigger bands we're supposed to compare to festivals which are more narrowed down into certain focus areas, like those grind death festivals or black metal death festivals. This is more about like catering to all possible needs. So at the same time, it might be too much for certain people, like there are too many misses and only a few interesting ones, but it's also quite of a counterpart of that, saying this as there are lots of bands you get to see, even though they wouldn't be their go-to bands as in some other, I don't know, context. But for me, this is very, very interesting because there's already a bunch of interesting bands I want to see, either for the first time or the second or third time, and also possibility for me, theoretically speaking anyway, to do interesting interviews. So it's going to be interesting, one hell of a 2 days festival, and personally looking forward to witnessing this. So will be one of the highlights for this summer after Inferno, Steelfest, and Beyond the Gates, obviously. So very interesting lineup overall, and like I said, you get to see all the information here about what you need to know about the area, how to get it, how to get there. It's very easy. It's quite close to Helsinki central area, and the commuting is very, very easy in the Helsinki area anyways. It's very simplistic and everything is basically in Finnish, Swedish and English. So it's not that hard to go to. Helsinki is not that big. So technically speaking, you could even walk right there from the city central if you have a spare time and all. It's not that big of an area. It's no London or New York or whatever. Looking forward to see you there. If you have questions about the festival, you need to know something basic I didn't mention here, let me know in the comments box and I'll get back to you. Now, off you go, considering where to buy tickets. You'll find them here, and let's see you there. Pull me by the sleeve if you get to catch me at Hellsinki Metal Festival 2024. Over and out. Bye-bye.